Come on, Spider-Ham. Come on, what is this weird place? I don't know, but take a look at this tower. It's beautiful. What are you doing, man? Take a look. Let's keep dancing. Let's dance, my friends. Dance. Move on. Come on, my friends. Dance. Haha, that's super fun, my friend. Yes, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. What are you doing, my tower? Take that, stupid idiot. Oh, what happened? Who are you? I'm the real Spider-Man, stupid idiot. No, I'm Spider. No, you are just a joke. Go away from my show. Go away. I'm the real Spider-Man here. Really? I'm ready to fight you. The Juggernaut is too big. Juggernaut, stop it. Colossus, I'm ready to fight against you. Yeah, you will lose this time. No, I don't think so. Take that. No, take that. No, take that. I won the battle. Colossus is my prisoner now. That was really crazy. But what happened? What is this stuff? What is? Hey, what? Who are you? I'm the Taxmaster in charge of you. Really? Another crazy guy? I don't think so. Take that. This place is full of crazy man, crazy superhero. What happened now? I'm Wolverine. I challenge you. Really? Why? Because I'm the real superhero? I don't think so. Take that. Another crazy guy in this place. Spider-Ham, we are back. We're back in this real place. Yes, I know. What are you doing, man? Take a look. I'm the devil. I'm challenging you. No, it's not a real Spider. Take that. What are you doing in my show? I don't... Take that, stupid idiot. This is real Spider-Man. What happened? I'm Black Panther. I challenge you, Spider-Man. No. Yes, I will be the winner. I don't think so. You will lose like the others. I'm Spider-Man. Take that. Another crazy guys. This place is... Hey, Spider-Man, who are you? I am your nightmare. My nightmare, yes. Take that. I call a friend. Yes, Spider-Man, come here. Thanos, take this dropkick. I won once again. I won. Yeah, and I hope this is the last one. What happened? Another weird things. Yes, it's the beginning of your head. No, I don't think so. Take that. What are you doing? Come here.
Mr. Allah in the world of toys, boxing, toy museums, reviews and reviews. Mr. Allah in the world of toys, unboxing, toy museums, reviews and reviews. Mr. Allah in the world of toys. Welcome back, my friends. This is Mr. Alan in the world of toys, and today is a special episode of my show because once again my channel reached another goal, because today the channel is over 9 million views. Actually, this is the number 9,300,000 62,181. So to celebrate, I need special guests, special friends to have fun together to talk about it, because this is a random show. And each of my guests need a special introduction with my piano. Let's start with the first one. The first guest of my show is a friend of mine that work with one of the best toy company in the toy business. They made awesome figures like Marvel Select and Lord of the Rings and Mini-Mates. And he's also probably the guest that was so many times on my show, probably 11 times with tonight. So let me introduce to you, my friends, the one and the only Zach. So, Zach, welcome to the show, Zach.
Thank you for having me back.
My friends, looks like that we saw each other yesterday.
They keep going up, those numbers.
Yeah, the numbers growing up. And growing up also, my busy days as a writer, musician, YouTuber, I'm very happy to have you back. And as you see, everybody, the figures that you can see in the stop motion are Marvel Select. So Zach is a part of this legacy. Thank you, Zach, for these beautiful figures. But now let me introduce to you another friend. He was in my show a while ago, but finally he comes back. Let's do a song for him. To me, San Diego is very far, but there is a friend that live around San Diego Comic Con, and he's an awesome artist and illustrator. I'm very happy to have him back on my show. So, Zach and everybody, let me introduce to you a great artist. His name is Tony Washington. Tony, welcome back to my show. Tony, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, and congrats again. It's awesome.
Thank you to come back. I'm very happy to have you back, and also because it's a special show with special guests to have a lot of fun. So there is another guest that is not the first time that he do a million celebration with me. I believe this is the third time that this guest is in my party celebration. So let's introduce the next guest. There is a great artist, and I like to talk with him every time in this show. So everybody, please welcome the next guest, and follow also his social media page to watch his awesome hardcore. So please welcome JP. Please welcome JP. So JP, welcome back to another party together.
Thank you. I love the intros, man.
As I mentioned before, in those days are raining where I live, so a little bit fresher than last weekend. It was so hot, so I decided to put to use the fireplace like in the winter, but now it looks like it's too hot in the room. So it's a mistake with the temperature. But this is a random show. So shout out to the people in the chat. I see someone that has the same name of Zakot, and I see also guys called Barbarous and Savage Cargo. All the gents, and congrats on the milestone, Mr. Alan. Thank you so much. We continue. The show is not finished because probably coming soon will be the 10 million views. Let's see, because we are, as I mentioned before, over 9 millions. But let's start with the random questions. So I will be the first to put random questions. So the first random question to all of you guys is, what is the best moment of your career? We start with we start with Tony, because Tony is new with this kind of show. So let's see what happens. Your name.
Okay, best moment of my career. I would, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go with two. I'd have to go with when I was initially hired to work in comics back when I was 18, getting hired at San Diego Comic-Con through Image Comics. So I got to live up my dream right out of high school, working at Wildstorm as a colorist. So that was that one, and then the book ended with finding out getting nominated for my first Eisner on this past Thursday. That's it blew me out of the water to see it. I was completely shocked. So the whole team and I have been just riding this amazing opportunities. So it's absolutely been incredible. So I have to cheat, but I'm going with two, and those will be them.
Awesome. JP,
What's that?
the question is for you, is for everybody. So what is the best moment of your career, JP?
Gosh, I'm not sure. Maybe it's still upcoming. um, hmm. It's hard to say. I mean, there's been a lot of great moments. I think the one that stands out right now, I don't know if it's the best, it just happens to stand out right now. I had a chance to work with a student, like a college student. And so this was an opportunity through a mutual, actually one of my professors, that kind of set that up. But it was a moment where, how you just work and you don't think about what's happening. You do projects and projects and life happens. And this student was basically where I was 20 years ago, and very talented and just asking me these questions. And then it just like this moment dawned on me, like when I was asking those questions, this person maybe wasn't quite born yet. And on the one hand, I felt old, but the other thing was, sometimes when you work, you don't realize, that you are on that journey, and then maybe the destination is the journey itself. But it was such a special opportunity to have a chance to give back to somebody, and that, not realizing or taking stock of what had happened, I had accumulated 20 years of whatever that this person could sift through and maybe get something out of it. And so I don't know, that's the moment that I guess stands out the most. There's been a lot of great projects, but for whatever reason right now, I'm not sure which one I would pick above another, if that makes sense.
Great. Zach, your favorite moment, your best moment of your career?
Gosh, it might be when the book that I co-wrote with sculptors Tim Bruckner and Ruben Procopio came out, which was a book called Pop Sculpture. And it was all about how to sculpt action figures and statues. And it was very detailed, primarily written by Tim. I did a lot of the editing on it, a lot of rewrites, just to make it more accessible to, like a layman who maybe wouldn't know so much about the business. Yeah, the book came out amazingly awesome. And it's just a great thing. I've never written anything else that got published, except for some old comic strips for Toy Fair magazine back when they got printed in volumes, collected volumes. Those were amazingly fun to work on. But to have a book that, like, now I'm a person on Amazon, which is cool. But it was a lot of work. It was like a year, over a year in the making, and it was really great to have it finally published.
Awesome. There is a comment to JP, a fan of the channel, said Chris Scorn, Arder, I believe the name. JP, it's good to see you doing some awesome art. So
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I should say both of you guys are amazing artists. If you haven't checked out their social media pages, you guys should check them both out because they do some amazing stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously, appreciate it.
Yeah. I love their artwork, as I love what you do with Diamond Select Toys, Zach, as well. So
yeah, definitely.
only people that I love in my channel.
Yeah.
Do you wanna know what is the best moment of my career?
Of course.
Yeah, actually.
Absolutely.
What is it?
I think it is about my music stuff, because it was the moment that it was the most popular moment of my career, because back in 2004, I was the opener or import as a musician, as a songwriter, musician, performer. I was an opener of a band really popular in Italy. And by the way, the front man of this band today has written the linear note of my novel. You can see the cover on the back, and all three novels of this trilogy. So we're still friends today. But back in the day, I was the opener of those shows. And I became popular because of that. So I started to do my tour with my own concert. I remember the pub, the show where the place where he put the show were full of people, no. And when I go in the street, the people call me la, la. So I have many fans. So it was the pinnacle of my career as a musician. So probably was the best moment of my career. That one.
That's great.
But now it's time to one of you to put a question to all of us. So there is some volunteer, or I need to pick who will put a question.
Yeah, we go with the latter.
So let's because he's new in this type of show. Let's put Tony in this role.
Oh no! I knew it was coming. I shouldn't have said anything. Let me think. I mean, I'm always interested in what gets each of us into the spot that got us motivated to doing what we're doing today. Because it's there's something down. It could have been at any moment in your life that you decided to do what you're doing for a living at this point. So, what do you think was that moment in each of your lives that you knew that you wanted to be involved with the field that you're currently in?
So we'll start now.
I'll let you go. I'll let you choose who can answer that one first.
So let's start with JP.
Yeah, I think I've talked about this before on this show, but I had two things going on when I had the turning point. I was doing a lot of sports, actually primarily basketball, but that had gotten to a point where I grew really early. So really when I was like coming out of middle school, I was like a giant. And then, but I was done growing in it. And, most people, they grew in high school. I didn't. I was like full size, And so things were kind of changing. But I was always academic, into really science. I wasn't great at math. I was, very good. And so I felt like I was going to go some kind of academic, science route or something like that. I love biology. I was pretty good at it. And just always curious and hungry. And I did not pay attention to I wasn't into toys. I wanted toys as a kid, but it didn't always go my way. But eventually I was like, yeah, whatever. I didn't play video games. I didn't read comics. I thought they were like for kids or something. And I would read like sci-fi novels. Anyway, so but I was very, very much into faith, spiritual issues, certainly science, certainly philosophy. I loved cars, car designs, machines, technology, engineering, all that kind of stuff. And I like to draw. I would always draw, and it was just like I just did it on the side, And I remember the art teacher in school would try to get me in her class, and I was like, and I would just focus on academic things. So this summer, a friend of mine took me to a comic shop. I was like, dude, I don't really want to be here. It's not my thing. And he showed me a bunch of stuff. I was like, yeah, whatever. And so there were two comics that kind of got really three, but two that got my attention like a little bit. So one was I think Spawn number 33. I was just like zero interest in any of it except for the coloring. I thought that's impressive. I didn't know that was happening in terms of digital colors. And then I remember I picked up Cyberforce number 6, Mark Silvestri. I remember looking through it and being like, yeah, okay, comic book stuff, whatever. But like the drawings were excellent. I was like, oh, this is, And all his hardware, because a lot of comics guys, they draw the people, but they don't draw the backgrounds or the hardware. I was like, everything in here is like good, like competent and interesting and exciting. And it's like, it is what it is, but it's And so I kind of like was like, I respect it, And so I would go back to that comic shop and kind of look around, and I saw the things that are interesting. But I also had my sketchbook, and the comic owner was into art. He had done like an indie comic or something like that, and he wanted to see my sketchbook. So I showed him, and he's like, I had no figures in there. It was all like spaceships and machines and just hardware backwards. And I didn't draw people. I didn't care. And he goes, well, he pointed me to Sid Mead's art, you know, because he saw me drawing that type of stuff. So I bought a bunch of Sid Mead. I was like, I love this. It's great. And he's like, well, if you're into that, and he pointed at Ghost in the Shell. And the graphic novel had just come out in '95, and I was like, dude, you know, I'm not trying to buy like, you know, nudie chick stuff. You know what I mean? It's not my thing. I'm not here for that. He's like, no, 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 don't worry about the cover. Like, just trust. In fact, he told me, buy it, read it. If you don't like it, I'll refund you, right? And I read it, and it blew my mind because everything that I was interested in, um, is this a sci-fi? It's a sci-fi story about artificial intelligence and consciousness, but it went right to the definition of being human and what is a soul? Is it information? Or is it something else? And all the tech in that book was feasible. Beautiful cars, beautiful helicopters, planes, machines, cyborgs, all the stuff that I was already drawing was in there. And it was the first time where I felt like all the interest in my life could be applied in one place. Because I always felt like my interest in science was far from kind of what I was drawing, and you know, spiritual issues were far from whatever, you know, engineering. It just seemed all like far apart. And so that was really, really inspiring, and it made me realize that like all my interests were always like speculative, right? I love biology not because I wanted to grow better corn. I just thought it would be fascinating, like what will we do with DNA in the future, you know, like that kind of stuff. And so I started to feel like, okay, maybe science fiction was really this place where I wanted to say something. And I could draw. My art, I felt like, in part because comics people tended to slack off on everything but the figures, at least in America. I felt like, okay, if I can draw all the background stuff as well as these pros, and I'm like 16, 17, I was like, I bet I could learn to do the figures one day and be like, you know. And so that's kind of what got me started.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Zach, it's time for your answer.
Um, it seems like even though I do writing now, I always was trying to get into like 2D art, like drawing. I was always drawing as a kid, but I was also writing a lot, obviously for school, but I would write like funny things, you know, that, you know, hopefully that the teacher seemed to like that I was writing these humorous pieces. And, you know, my dad he worked for a newspaper, so he was a writer. Actually, you know, I used to copy edit some of his stuff when I was in high school, when he was working for a newspaper, a very small newspaper. But when I got to high school, I was, you know, writing funny things for the teachers, and I got a column when I was in college. I went there I studied studio art. I majored in studio art, but I minored in English. They didn't really have minors, but I took a lot of writing classes when I was in college. And coming out of college, I was looking for a job. I loved comic books. I had really gotten back into toys in college, and I got a magazine job with a magazine called Toy Fair Magazine. I was a copy editor because I had that experience, and so I really sort of fell into it. I never really knew what I wanted to do. That's how I ended up being a studio art major at a liberal arts college. But you know, I never really knew what I wanted my career to be, and then it sort of just you know, like a boulder, just sort of rolled and rolled and rolled until it was, you know, kind of what I did. I became an editor at the magazine, and I did a lot of writing. I wrote that book, co-wrote that book. And now I just write every day for my job. I write ads. I write, you know, packaging text, copy, catalog copy, all sorts of things. And it combines all my favorite things. It combines movies. It combines comic books, and of course toys. And so there was really no. It's almost like I'm still discovering, you know, what I want to do, and this is kind of what I'm known for now. But you know, I always think, well, what am I going to do in the future when maybe I can't do this anymore? I'm not, you know, the young social media guy. I'm old. The social media evolves to a place where I don't know how it works anymore. But I'm sorry, that's a long rambling answer. But
No, not at all.
There was really no one moment. It just sort of like, oh, I can do this. oh, I can do this. Oh, okay, I can do this. All right, it's just sort of I fell into job after job after job, and they sort of all, it sort of developed what I would do in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of rambling question, is my time. So are you ready, guys? Because I'm like Transformers in my life. Because since when I was a little kid with my little top hat, with my little sunglasses, my dream was be a singer. When my father put the song of Elvis Presley or rhythm and blues and rock and roll, this stuff, when I was a kid, every time I didn't know who is the singer, but I figured it was me in the future, so it was my dream. And I followed this dream for a long time, I started to go on the stage and singing when I was 13. And then I started to think I need to be a professional musician, and was the beginning of the nightmare, looks like, because the music business in Italy is really bad. So I was lucky, was so determined, and become friends with many important artists in Italy, and also writers, actors, and directors. I'm a friend of Dario Argento, for example, and also a musician, many artists. And the artists believe in me, like today, because Zach, I said you before, I believe when was releasing my book, some video about some Italian artists. No, they continue to do stuff for me for free to support my books now and they pass my music. So I started to do the tour writing. I wrote probably 300 songs, but I kept only 100 because the other I didn't like it, so I put in the trash and on the desktop. So as a musician, I have a big criticism to me. So because it was after many years, probably 15 years, I was tired of this music business. I start to need to find a comfort zone, a way to a relief for that. So I started writing just to escape this frustration of this music business that doesn't understand my vision. The people like it, the artists like it, but the producer and these guys, yeah, you're good, but you're so different. So in which part of the market you can put your stuff? So I start to become frustrated for that. I have some success. I was popular for a while, but then I lost this popularity. And it's bad that because it's like you lose your charge sometimes, no? So because of that, I start writing. And today, this novel is the novel number 6 that I published so far. But now I'm working on my novel number 40 because I did story after story, like a volcano, unstoppable. And also because I need that to have a relief, to don't think too much. Because my story is not related with me, is totally fiction. So after that, I start to decide that the writing is not enough to have a relief. So I go to what is the name of the room under the roof in a house? I forgot so far right now.
Attic?
The attic, thank
Yeah,
you.
the attic.
I go to my attic, I found my old WWF Hasbro figure. Wow, I started playing with these toys. Wow, I feel better with that. So my adventure as a toy collector started with that. So I started to figure out what I can do with my figures. I can play like a little kid. What I can do, stop motion can be good. Reviews, unbox. So I opened this channel. And then this channel become another job because my problem is that I am ambitious. So when I do something, I need to be the best, the number one. So that pushed me so hard. And so It's my nature. It's to me, it's impossible that any kind of art is just an hobby. I need to live for that day by day, 24 hours, especially in the night, because now it's 3 a.m. and 43 minutes. But to me, it's normal
Wow.
still is be awake at this time. To me, it's normal.
Okay.
Tomorrow, because tomorrow I need to go in a city to promote the book,
Okay.
I need to put the clock at 4 p.m. and 30 because in general I wake up at 4. No, not at 4, at 2 p.m. 30 tomorrow. Because in general I
Oh
wake
wow.
up at 4 p.m. because when I start to writing or do videos, when I start to do something, it's impossible to stop myself like a crazy guy. I'm writing and writing and writing or edit video until 7 a.m. like a crazy guy. When the sunrise arrives, oh no, it's the sunrise. I need to go to sleep. Come on. And the weird thing is that my dog is a pug, become a little vampire itself because sometimes when I need to have some radio interview, because and the radio interview are only in the morning. This is a nightmare to me. So put the clock at 10 a.m. The radio interview try to be awake and not like a zombie. And my dog, because he's to him, it's like me. He wake up only in the day when the almost with the sunrise, not the sunset,
Yeah.
almost. So it's like me, the dog. So it's a crazy life, but I love it. I prefer be crazy, but do something that I love. To do another job because to me it's like to kill myself. Do a job that I don't like. I prefer
Right.
work with this weird, strange schedule, but it's the life. So.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I need to open the window because it looks like the summer is, or maybe because the fireplace is too hot. But I won't continue the show with another question. And now the volunteer of the next question is Zach.
No, I was going to say I'd love to hear Tony's answer to that question because he asked
Oh.
it, but he didn't get to answer it. Tony, when did you
Zach,
realize?
you're right,
what you wanted
Zach.
to do?
You're right, Tony. Tony, you try to escape your
Almost,
question.
almost did it. Almost did it.
Wait a minute, because there is another introduction to do, my friends.
Okay.
There is another friend that I want to put with us in the show. He's a YouTuber like me, he's a musician like me, he's a friend of mine. We did do some together in the past. So please welcome the one and the only ShartimusPrime. But looks like I see a wide screen, but I put ShartimusPrime. However, let's see. We see the name. In a moment, Shartimus will appear in the show.
Hey, how's it going, you guys? Oh, I just woke up. Sorry. Just woke up. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Shartimus, let me introduce the other guests. You know Zach, JP Mavinga,
Hey.
great artist and illustrator. Tony Washington, great artist and illustrator. So,
How are you guys?
Good. How are you, man?
Everybody's doing well. Sorry to hop on late. I I was listening to Alan talk about his sleeping schedule, and man, there was a time, but now I'm in full on dad 5:30 a.m. in the morning, ready to go mode.
Yeah.
I can't break out of it. It's the silence. There's a sweet pocket of time between 5:30 a.m. and 7 a.m., which is nice. But I love my kids. Don't get me wrong. But Zach knows what I'm talking about. I know that for sure. Tony, JP, I don't know if you have kids or not, but
Nope.
if you do, you know what I'm talking about.
so I have an idea to introduce better to the other guest what me and you we did in the past, Shartimus. So let's put the official video, one of our song, that maybe JP and
Today's the day. Is today the day?
Today is the day. So let's show the song also for Tony and JP.
I'm wearing
And
that
maybe
same
Antis, I
bad
don't know if
hat
it's
that I was wearing in that video.
What
Hat
video?
just looks sloppy all the time when I'm.
Uh-oh.
Ah, okay.
This is great. Everybody was singing this during the whole show.
awesome.
ShartimusPrime.
Today is the day. Today is the day. Today is
Oh, man, it was sweaty. I was sweating on that.
was a kid, playing toys, was super cool, was something special. Today, I'm not a kid. I still play with toys, with action figures. Today is the day. Today is the day.
Moves.
Today is power gone. Today is the day. Today is the day. Today is power gone. Today is your day. You find your way. Welcome to
Oh, it's a different
power
hat.
gone. This is a super show.
This was such a tricky track to record to because it had the electronic drum parts in there already. Not to complain or anything, but like it makes it a little bit of a unique. I usually record. I have a click that just beeps, but this had like a full electronic drum part.
Today is power gone. Today is the day. Today is the day.
Oh, I love those things. Those goblins.
Today is your day. You find your way. Welcome to Power Gone. You can find your favorite figure. You can find your best friend. You can find so many.
Oh, that was so cool. I remember that. I was there for that. Double stroke roll.
Yeah, cool.
Kind of hidden there. I love this look right here, Alan. That looks great. I love the black and white jester look. That's sick. Got like a little bit of a gothic look, right? Isn't that cool? I like.
Yep.
Keep that. I like that black and white look is pretty rad.
Yeah, it was an idea. I like put a different version of myself when I do a video, no? Because
Yeah, definitely.
everybody have a different personality inside. We are not just only one. Come on, we are many different sides of us. So every time they do a song, I try to do that. And maybe Shartimus, you don't know that last January I published my novel number 6, and coming soon will be released also in English but in Kindle format.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to keep an eye out. Yeah.
And now I am on tour. I'm a book tour in Tuesday. I have a show in the middle of Italy. I did the 2 shows last weekend, so to promote the book.
Wow. Congratulations, Alan. Nice.
Yeah,
Doing
definitely
some national touring over there.
Yeah. Touring for the books. So it's the first time, Shartimus, you not the first time on my channel, but the first time in this kind of show. This kind of show is random. We can talk about everything, and everybody can put a question to everybody. So because you are the last one, it's time to you to put a question to all of us. And remember, this question is not only for us, but only for you, my friend.
Oh, wow. Oh, geez. I have to ask everybody a question. Okay.
How about we have Tony do his answer, and then we can have Russ do his answer to the question.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
you're right.
maybe,
Sorry,
yeah.
Tony. I totally forgot.
No, you're good. You're good.
Tony,
um,
maybe
yeah,
repeat the question for
no,
us
yeah,
because
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my question was just more of like almost like an origin story to how you got into the position that you're at, yeah, to be able to do what you're doing for a living. Um, and you know, but my you know, I've been in comics and entertainment for about 29 years, but it all started back. I got really serious around 15, 16 years old. Seeing, well, I was always a fan of comic books, but I never really took it serious. I thought it was just cool, and I would just pick up whatever I could during lunch break or whatever at school, and I guess there was a comic store right across the street, so I was definitely over there a lot. But
That's
I
awesome.
saw Spawn #1 when that came out, and that kind of changed everything for me. Kind of echoing to what JP had said, just the production quality was so high on all the stuff that Image was releasing at that even still to this day, of course, but at that time I'd never seen digital coloring in a comic book before, and the way that the production was on those books was incredible. So I wanted to figure out how to do it. Back in the day when you can actually walk into San Diego Comic Con and not have to wait for you know, a lottery to be able to get tickets, I went to the show. I just walked in at 15, got a ticket right at the convention center, and went straight to Image Comics to figure out how to get a job. I was definitely too young, so they did not give me one. They definitely gave me pointers on what I needed to do with my portfolio to get better. And I came back at 16, 17. Got turned down again on, you know, which is understandable, and I kept working at it. But I was at art school at Cal Arts, which is in Valencia, California, a couple hours north of here in San Diego. And then while I was at Cal Arts, I did another portfolio, and it was all based on Spawn because I wanted it. That was my book at the time. So I did my own Spawn comic and did it in pen and ink and colored pencil. And I just literally took originals down to the show, and I went to Image again. I went to Top Cal's booth um, first, and thankfully, the former comics store I used to work for, where I was in high school, they got me in early, so I could get in line first for portfolio review. And went straight to Top Cal. They were the first ones to accept submissions, and that's what started it all. So they hired me and then transferred me to Wildstorm since I was here in San Diego, and went and worked for Jim Lee's division. And that's literally where I learned how to do digital coloring and full on production in comics was out of that spot when I was 18. So you know, that's what you know, thankfully they gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to be able to do what I do till into this day.
great.
Whoa. What?
So
So,
maybe Ras, before to start with your question, put your answer of the question of so
oh yeah. Oh no, it was just about Tony's story though. So living in San Diego really helped your career then, right? Like actually being there,
Yeah,
right? That
that,
that
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 absolutely
actually,
did.
wow. No, that's interesting because it's like you think about comic book art, like you could do it anywhere, right?
Mhm.
Like especially nowadays, but like hearing
Yeah.
how that you living in San Diego actually like helped you kind of have Jim Lee steer you where he wanted
Yeah,
you.
I mean, being on site was huge. I mean, we didn't have any crazy internet stuff back in the day, so it was, you know, you had to be in a house or on site to be able to learn this stuff. So, you know, again, them giving me a shot, you know, it changed everything for me. So I was, you know, forever grateful to that entire team, you know, to be even giving me a shot to even do this stuff. So, so yeah.
maybe it's like an actor to live in Hollywood, something similar.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because that was California was where, you know, Top Cow and Wildstorm were at. Not all of the Image was in California at that time, but definitely, you know, Wildstorm and Top Cow were here, and then you know, of course, everything else, you know, from Eric Larson to you know, Silvestri. Well, Silvestri is here, and then of course McFarlane not being in California, but we're all pretty close. But you know, but just that whole hub of different talent was all pretty much in California, which you know, I was super lucky to even be, you know, in that position to even walk up to these guys. So yeah, being location at that time was huge. But nowadays, I don't really think you have to be, you know, in California to be doing this. You can be anywhere in the world and do this stuff, which is great.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, a lot of our sculptors are around the world. We have them in Argentina, We have them in various countries, and UK. We have some of our designers. So with the digital sculpting, it's so much easier to get a prototype from one place to another, because it used to be you have to ship a giant clay statue internationally, which was very not feasible.
No.
So it's amazing how much this stuff has changed.
Yep.
Nice. To answer the question, it's really, and I'll keep it short and sweet. In the 2008-2009 recession is basically what got me into being a YouTuber, and which is kind of not funny, but interesting seeing the pandemic kind of have the similar effect on a lot of people, but how that affected me back in 2008-2009. So I started doing the YouTube channel 2009, and but I didn't really think I could like go anywhere with it until later on, around 2012. I started to see other YouTubers were able to do it, and that, like, Sean Long was a big inspiration because he was doing that full time, and I was like, wait, you could do that full time? I could make this work. I could do this. I just was able to see the amount of input going into the videos and everything, and that was really inspiring. So that's where that's where, more or less in a nutshell, where I'm at from on the YouTube thing. Of course, it's been a whole bunch of other people helping me out in a whole bunch of different ways, but a lot of support from a lot of people has definitely helped tremendously over the years. So having people believe in me and everything is definitely a big part of it. But yeah, it's a dream gig. I'll hang on to it as long as I possibly can, for sure. My question for everybody is, who's your favorite comic book artist?
Wow, that's tough.
That's I'll go first. I'll say Todd McFarlane for me, because that was the first comic book I picked up off a shelf. I'd been given some hand-me-downs, and we're on a flight to Venezuela, and my mom said I could pick one comic book to read on the plane, and this looked cool. Spider-Man was all swinging towards the screen, and the webbing looked all nuts, and his feet were over his face, and it was just like a version of Spider-Man I wasn't really that familiar with. It was like one of the earlier issues of the Spider-Man run from Todd McFarlane. So I picked that up, either issue 2 or issue 6. I can't remember exactly, but it was one of those two.
Tony, answer the question now.
Tony's got to have the answer to that.
I mean, Todd was definitely incredible. For me, getting to know Jim Lee, I was always a fan of his work from X-Men, and I remember buying like 42,000 versions of the covers that they released on that run. But I definitely think Jim was super inspirational as an artist. Definitely a quick story because of that, because I was, for whatever reason, he thought it was hilarious to put my desk directly in front of Jim's office. And I'm a rookie at this studio, and the pressure was already on for me to be able to learn how to do this stuff. But whoever decided to put my desk directly in front of Jim's office was not well, they were thinking, because that was hilarious. But for me, I was the most pressure in the world. But I remember he called me into his office. I was coloring. I want to say I was on maybe Divine Right at the time. And he had called me into his office, and we were scanning pages because we were on a deadline. All of us were, he had ordered like a bunch of pizzas and a whole bunch of food. So he was in the middle of drawing, taking phone conferences, and he called me into his office really quick. So I ran in, and he's like, "Can you get this over to scan?" He was working on Deathblow at the time. And he's on the phone conference, passing me a Bristol board to scan and drawing without looking on the page with a Sharpie. No, there's no sketches. There's nothing. He's literally drawing, talking to me, passing this stuff, and I'm looking down. I'm not even looking at the page he's passing. I'm just looking at what he's drawing. And he goes, "Hey man, you good?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I grabbed the page and literally, I had never
What
seen that in my life. And
hell?
and I'm like, he's like triple multitasking with all these things, but literally drawing a page without a pencil, just going straight Sharpie. And I knew at that point that I had so much to learn in life. So that helped a lot to realize where I needed to be leveling up to and that aspiration to get to that point where I didn't need to have any underlying pencil and just raw ink out the gate. That was some of the most impressive stuff that I'd ever seen in my life. So definitely my most inspirational would have to be Jim.
Wow. Jeez.
Zach, it's your turn.
I've got a lot of favorites, and they're all real different, like J.H. Williams and Bob Layton and Jim Lee, of course. But I was at a toy show this weekend, and what I picked up, like of all the stuff that I saw, what I picked up was The Spirit.
Oh,
I picked up like 4 issues of The Spirit, and I realized why I wanted them so bad is because I love Will Eisner's art. I don't necessarily like all the stories he's written. Some of his later graphic novel stuff I couldn't really get into, but his artwork is just amazing. Like the layouts and all his line work is just amazing. So it's probably a cop out to pick one of the greatest comic artists, like undeniably of all time. He has an award named after him, for gosh sakes. But
Yeah, exactly.
but he's the GOAT. So you got to go with him.
Okay.
JP?
Yeah, this is one of those questions where it's more about who you're leaving out than because on any given day, I'm torn. Well, I already mentioned Shiro for Ghost in the Shell, so I'm gonna go another direction. I'm gonna say Mobius, which could be a cop out because another one of the greats.
Not a cop out.
Some people just leave such a mark. I think I'm gonna frame it this way. When you look at what comic book art is, storytelling, it's very close, in my view, to the origin of language and communication, right? You go back to the cave art and all these things, and even the origin of writing systems has to do with, pictograms and representations, and essentially translating from story to abstract concepts to characters and so on and so forth. But when you get to our time, comic books are sort of considered this kind of like garbage medium to a lot of people. It's tied to the periodical, so like newspapers and subsequently, and then it's almost viewed as this disposable, activity. Many people produce comics. Maybe today it's a bit different, but I think for a long span of time it was to create content. Like how people post on social media. It's just something, like the void in the paper has been filled, but it doesn't always get its due as fine art, I guess is what I'm getting at. And you look at guys putting in hours and hours and hours, and oftentimes most people that aren't know comics, they've looked at one image and think, well, this is pretty simple as far as art goes. It's not the Mona Lisa, and rightfully so. But what it is that if you were to take, for example, a work like Akira, and you put all 1,900 pages together, and you say this is a mural, it's oh my God, it's a whole complete life experience visually put on a wall. And so Mobius to me is one of those artists that was able to take the art form all the way to into the fine art kind of academic space and give it its full recognition. And he explored it thoroughly from comedy stuff, adventure stuff, sci-fi, philosophical, spiritual, all of it. And so for me, I think he left a mark that I don't know if anybody will ever be able to match that, just both from a skill and versatility perspective, but also in terms of meaning. But whichever way you want to go with the medium, I think he sets the bar high in every direction. So I'm gonna go with that guy for this answer. But any other day, hey, it could be someone else.
This answer today.
Yeah.
So now it's my turn. So, before to have the dream to be a musician, when I was a kid, I was good to drawing. So my teacher also in the elementary school, a little bit later, suggest me to do a school of art. But my parents they were against that, no. But I'm not a strong reader of comic books. Maybe I'm more a reader of novel, especially horror novel, something like that. But I have some favorites when I was a kid because my father worked at a library. So he gave me at the time many comic books to read. And my favorite is a guy from France. His name is Uder. So he's the guy that drawing the comic book of Asterix, Obelix. Do you know? I don't know if it's popular in US, but I like so much because I like the ironic side of this comic book, and also because the landscape of this drawing of this comic book in each scene are so accurate, like realistic, but the characters are like caricature, no? So there is the big guy with the small head like Obelix. So it's like the fun stuff. And I had also the original Playmates Asterix figures I had at the time, action figure. Also because I was more stronger an action figure collector as a kid or watching cartoon, but that one was my favorite comic book, no questions about it. So let's see who put the question. Now is the turn of Zakot. Put the question.
Oh, no. Wait. I want to hear what Russ's favorite comic book artist is. Shartimus.
Oh yeah, I said Todd McFarlane, but it honestly, as I was listening to everybody else's answers, I was like, I have answered this question myself and with different answers like many times. But Todd McFarlane was the one that was like my first favorite. Mike Deodato's been a big favorite of mine for a while too. I really like Mike Deodato a lot. I like that sketchy kind of style. And then I also I don't know. Yeah, there's a whole ton. I'm enamored by Tim Sale, like Tim. We recently lost, but like I love like his simplicity, but still there's like so much emotion in his artwork. So there's a whole ton of favorites my answer today was Todd.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, he's great. I love him.
Yeah,
I love it. Me too. I draw also when I was a kid. I copied the comic book of Asterix, but also the cartoon was my first passion, drawing. But then the music take over my life. So
yeah,
we've talked
about that before. I used to draw a whole bunch, and I stopped when I got into drums. Like playing drums swept me up off my feet. I'm sitting there drawing drums during all my classes. Like, why do certain drummers have this kind of kit and this setup and not? And everything about it, I just fell head over heels for drums. I couldn't stop thinking about it, talking about it all the time. It's like just grabbed me. And my artist, and he just kept going. And my brother's awesome at it. So it's like I see his artwork, and I'm like, man, if I just kept going. He's an especially good animator too. He could just whip stuff up really fast, and he has that like Disney like flow kind of thing. You know how like it has, I don't know, extra frames or whatever. It's just really, really smooth. He's just really, really good at it. So my brother is also my favorite comic book artist. Yeah. Comics. Yeah, brother is also. All right. I think it's Zach's turn to ask a question.
Yeah.
I think I got one. Let's see. If you could go back in time and try another form of art, what form of art would that be? And that you would like to be successful in as an artist.
Wow, it's a great question.
Tony, what do you got?
I moonlight as a music producer, so it would be music because I started playing piano as a kid. But it was there was art really led me into what I ended up doing. I found out right around like middle age, 14, 15, that my dad actually drew, and I had no clue that he was an artist. Then my mom gave me the whole backstory to why he was an artist and didn't end up going into that field, because he ended up going straight into the Navy when they found out that I was on the way. So he had a full ride scholarship into doing art at a school in Michigan back in Detroit. But when he was on the way, he's like, "No, I'm going to the military." So the opportunities just weren't there at that point. So he ended up going into military for over 40 years. But I was all about music producing. I was making I was writing with piano and bass and guitars and all that kind of stuff as a kid and in my teenage years. And then when I found out that my dad was an artist, I was just like, I wanted to follow his, carry the torch basically and honor what he wasn't able to complete. So that's literally where everything kind of changed around that point. So if I wasn't doing art, I would be a music producer, no question. So I still make beats. It's just not as much as I would like, but yeah.
Maybe Tony, you can produce something with me and Russ together.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Absolutely. Now, my guitar and bass are right over there, and my keyboard's right behind me. So.
Awesome. Zach, choose the guy that need to answer your question. You are the host when you put the question. Choose the next one.
Let's go with JP. JP, what do you think?
So are we still like talking art?
Yeah, another form of art that if you could not be a comic book artist, what would you want to do?
I actually wanted to do car design. That was the first time I sort of got serious about drawing, and I saw there's a magazine called Boys Life magazine, and actually like a neighbor used to get it, and then they would like give us the issues, and I would look through them, like, yeah, whatever. But one time they had a feature on like car design. I was like, wow, this is cool. And then they said like there were two schools in the country that had it as a major. This was in the early 90s. So there's one in Detroit, and then there was Art Center in Pasadena. So I got the address. Actually, I think I wrote to the editor, so I got the addresses. They sent me a response. I think I still have it. So I wrote to both. I was like 12, by the way. I wrote to both of the schools, and they sent me those little school catalogs, for the majors, and that was like my inspiration for a couple years. I don't know where they are now, but yeah, I would have done car design. I really really loved. I love cars, not just and it ended up showing back up when I worked in toys and doing statues. And I like the idea of problem solving, right? Because when you draw and sketch, you solve 2D, you do whatever you want, fake whatever you want. When you have to solve a problem in the round, it gets a lot more interesting, And a car has to be functional. So I didn't know that most cars aren't designed by one person. You know what I mean? Like the rookie intern guy might do like the vent over here, or maybe the wheel, or maybe the steering wheel, or redesign like a little, I thought that one person was like the visionary, And so, how they would have sometimes schematics or cutaways, illustrations.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned perspective. I was like, okay, if I'm going to design a car, I got to understand the car. So I would like set up a little perspective, and I would figure out the wheels and where the engine would sit, and I would draw the engine and everything. Then I get an overlay, and I'd figure out like the chassis, the transmission, the suspension, and the linkage, And I was like, okay, so the body's gonna connect here, here, and here, and here. And then I would like try to draw like the curve of the body on top. And I thought that that's how it was done. And so once I got older and I realized, okay, everybody's doing parts of it, I still had this like dream, like, man, like, and you know, there's some boutique cards that are like one man's vision, you know, but still,
Yeah.
that whole process taught me how to draw things in space and design and think about, you know, how things actually work versus just like a drawing. So it led me to comics, but I think there was a point where it could have gone either way, right at that, you know, critical point, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder. I'm just gotten myself. My brother's trying to learn bass. I'm teaching my brother bass. I'm trying to get back into drawing, and he has me drawing shapes. Like there's this little like box of playing cards, and he's like, just here. He'll just toss it on the table, and then he'll say, draw it like that. He's like, just keep tossing it on the table, and then draw it how you see it as best as you can, and just see how hard that is, and try to capture that. That kind of reminds me of what JP was talking about, the engine parts and just getting your perspective down and all of that. And it kind of reminds me of Jack Kirby and all the machinery and all the extra gizmo stuff that he was able to lay down. I feel like that's almost like a rite of passage. Like you really have to know your like it just makes sense. Like you really, really have to know your perspective if you want to make good art.
Yeah.
But aside from, wishing I got into art, I always wanted to make movies. I wanted to either be an actor or a movie director. Like that was like the thing that I really, really wanted to do. I went to Academy of Arts Science, Academy of the Academy of Arts in San Francisco. I took a film directing class over there just one semester, and I really liked that a lot. But I think I'd finished high school and had to get a job over the summer and kind of focused on having money so I could buy more stuff for drums, and because I was living at home, I was lucky enough to live at home still. So, but yeah, if I had gotten into, which I could still kind of do with the YouTube channel, I'm working on a new collector documentary now, self plug over here, but I have the script down and, working on a new documentary, which is the closest thing for me of making an actual movie. They're very concise 5-6 minute videos, and I edit hardcore. My wife will be the cinematographer. She's super picky about the lighting. And it really helps a lot. It just makes things consistent. Like instead of it looking like a bunch of different random home movies, it looks like it's just one home movie, so
Yeah.
and she likes being a part of it, and she'll play a character in it and everything, and it's fun shooting my wife and kind of like seeing like shooting her. And Zach knows Nina's got gorgeous eyes. Like she has like these amber colored eyes, and it's like certain angles I'm like, whoa, like your eyes are just like really, like this shot is just perfect the way the light's like reflecting in there. So I get enamored with the whole motion picture experience. I wish I could have focused on that more, I guess, or maybe not. I don't know if, not like I have regrets, but yeah, if I ever had an opportunity to go harder in that direction, that would be pretty fun.
Well, you've definitely made a lot of short films. You did that whole Marvel Legends collector series, right?
Yeah. All 5 of them. It's I need to make more, but yeah, those collector documentaries, those are like a lot of people like those, so I need to do more of those for sure.
Yeah. Alan, how about you?
Okay, something that I tried to do in the past, because it is similar of the answer of Shartimus, but a little bit different. Because I'm always, since when I was a kid, a visionary, And also when I did a concert, was like a show with a story, and each person in the show, in general, all girls, musician, dancer, had a role in the story. But I did also some short movie in Italy with actress and everything. Like 10 minutes, I did 3 of that. But the something that was difficult to me was find the money to do that, because you need a lot of money to have the staff to create everything, to shoot in the movie, but also to do the casting to find the right actor and the right actor to do something that you want also, no? So the reason why I quit a little bit in this dream to be a filmmaker is because of the work to so many people, no? Find the money, find the right producer, find the right people to work, they understand your vision. And so they say maybe it's better to do book, because with book you can be a filmmaker without a cast, without a staff, without have a problem with people that doesn't understand what do you mean. So filmmaker was my dream. It's the reason why I love great filmmaker. Tim Burton. I met Tim Burton last October, for example. David Lynch, the Coen brothers, Scorsese, Brian De Palma. This is my favorite director, and I watch and rewatch so many of these movies. I like The Visionary. The Visionary is an artist that will be, if we find a way to find a spot, he become immortal because it's different, but he have more difficult to be popular because you're different. Because in general, also for books, for movie, for songs, the publisher, the guys that works behind the scene prefer choose a easy way, a easy product that works to everybody. If you're different, you fight against maybe an adverse fate, but you can do something different. It's better to be rejected so many times, but maybe when you find your spot, you will live forever. Zach, your answer?
I've always wanted to be a singer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's the time. Come on, Zach, sing something.
No, I'm actually a little under the weather, so my voice is scratchy as heck. But
Okay.
I was in an a cappella group in college, and I did choirs in high school and junior high school, and I love singing. I love singing, pop songs, in the shower, on the car, whatever. But it's obviously it's like one of the huge an industry that you can't really break into, and even if I was doing like local singing, that would be I've looked into like doing stuff like that, but it's I get stage fright too, so that's a totally total major overhaul obstacle for me to go over. So karaoke is probably the closest I'm going to get to it, but I need to do it more often. So
Which song do you like to sing in general?
Gosh, well, I don't know if I could pick a kind of song. I love classic rock, but when I was in college, I had one song that I sang the solo for, and it was "Material Girl" by Madonna, and that was the song that I sang as part of this group. Totally ironic, but it was we had a lot of fun back then.
Cool.
So am I the only one that's not musical?
Yeah, it's your turn, JP.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
No, you got bassist, producer, singer, piano player, everything, drummer.
Hey, I almost said comic book artist, but I could never do what you guys do in terms of like the focus and the commitment to the time that it takes to put into the research and the creation. I used to draw comic strips in college, but it was always 4 panels, and then I was like, you know what, I'm done until next week, and then I'll continue the story then. I can put it off for a while. But comic artist is another one that I used to think I wanted to be one until I realized it's just so you need to really know your stuff to do it. And I really am impressed by you two, the amount of the talent that you have.
I definitely appreciate that.
Looks so hard. The deadlines.
Yeah.
My friend was I have one of my best friends was in the industry. He worked for Image for a couple of years. His name was Rodina Skejo, and he burned himself out. Like he just doesn't do it at all anymore. And I think it was because he was doing covers and he was doing pages, and it was
gosh, yeah.
And I remember him just talking about like just constant sleepless nights, staying up, and kind of having these days where nothing would come out, like he wouldn't be able to draw anything. and then you would get back into it. But then, like when you got back into it, you'd have to stay up for days working on stuff. It just seems so much more hectic than I would ever imagine. Because on our side, we just get to relax and enjoy.
Yeah.
But on your side, you're making sacrifices and doing all kinds of things to make it all possible.
It's like writing, Russ, because the people can read a book in 1 week, a few days, a few works. Actually, I can write a novel in 4 months.
Okay.
Because I can write 9 page in 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like I like a machine. So, but without to stop everything, no bathroom, no food, no girls.
Yeah. I feel
You know,
like
art to me is it's a lot like sports. And I'm glad that was a part of my life before I got into, because, if you approach it purely from a feel good inspiration kind of emotion kind of a thing, you'll run out of it because those states kind of come and go, and it's hard to like find peak feeling, right? But what you learn in sports is you just train. You develop your body, your nervous system to do it, and then every time you're out there, game performance, right, whatever it is you're doing, you are already set up to maybe guarantee 80% performance, maybe 90% performance, right? And if you have a special day, maybe you peak, 98, 99, 100, but you're in shape, right? So that you're always delivering that 80% thing, and you're able to like show up like that. So what that means is if you're doing sports, you got your on day, your off day. You got to recover. You got to eat right. You got to, you know what I'm saying? And I think I haven't done like a comic book run or anything. Like that's one of my, ambitions probably this year actually. But I find like even doing like concept art and other stuff like that, like you really kind of have to develop both your skill set and then like your sort of like your tools, and then your body and your reflexes to show up and to do it. And that's how you don't burn out. You have to make it kind of and I'm not saying I've done a perfect job of that, but I think when you look at the careers of people who've been super successful versus ones who were brilliant but struggled, like the difference is that discipline of how they trained and developed themselves and their body. And then you look at them, like some of the best guys are like lifting weights, and they have this whole like staying in shape routine on the side to keep their body,
Yeah.
So I think it's a factor, and I think art is a lot more like sports than maybe it's explained as, if that makes sense.
Yeah, also the discipline behind the sport and behind the arts is similar. No, the schedule you need to spend many hours to grow as an artist or as an athlete. No, you need to have a schedule every day. You can be an artist part-time. You need to do that every day, and you learn something. Only do something and you learn. It's the only way to. For example, I disagree about school of writing. To me, are just a way to do business to people to have the dream to be a writer. The only way is to read good books and write. For music, it's different because you have to know the bass, where you put the hands on the piano, on the drums. You need to study that. It's different. But for writing, to me, I think is the only way is read and writing, not school writing. JP, we need your question. Come on.
Man, I guess for me, if there's one thing, like when, not to get all dark, but like, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to leave behind? Like, what's the most significant thing, whether it's project, story, or reputation, or what do you want to ultimately leave behind from your effort?
It's a hard question,
right?
So let's start with Tony. Tony, start with your
Oh no. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I do think giving back, I think, is something that's important. And people gave me a shot, and I've always wanted to make sure I return that. So I've been very fortunate to be able to teach, not just online, but and I had as an example, I was in Alabama. Um, it's about almost 2 years now, and I got to teach inner city kids how to draw comic book characters and make their own heroes. And they had no clue that that could be a job. And I was just like, I was saddened, but also I was super excited to be able to help them, to give them that, a shot to be able to see what they can develop on their own, and get their imaginations rolling. Um, but I do think it's important for me. It would just be just the fact that I do want to always give back, and share what the knowledge that I've learned, whether it's online, or when I'm when I'm doing live demos at events, or any of that kind of stuff. I think it's important to be able to share, especially to people who don't have the ability to learn this stuff or have access to it. I think it's important to share that knowledge. So if anything, it would be the fact that I'm always big on giving back and sharing what I've learned in the industry over the almost, not to date myself too much, but almost 30 years now. It'll be 30 years next year that I've been in the industry. So, um, that's the one thing I think is important, is to give back, because, you reflected on that yourself earlier, JP, about someone who was, 20 years in difference, and it makes you think how fast life is, but two, it's good to be able to share something when there's someone who does not know how to what Photoshop is, how it works, or Clip Studio Paint, or Procreate, or and even just standard traditional materials like Bristol boards, and what pencils to use on that kind of stuff. And just any knowledge I'm able to share, I think is important. So if I had that one thing, it would just be the fact that I was known to definitely give back and share, and not just hold on to the stuff that I've learned. I think that's, in order for people to grow in the industry, to move forward, I think people have to know how to do this stuff. So I think sharing is, giving back is important.
Next volunteer. Zach looks like a volunteer. Come on.
Gosh, that's tough. I don't know if I, would want to be remembered for, a creative project. I'm kind of, my trajectory is not really creating, like, works really anymore. So, it's, I do just want to be remembered as, a good person. There are times in my life where I've been a jerk, and I've lost my temper with people, and there are things I regret, but I also, I try to be a good dad. I try to be a good husband. I try to be a good coach to the soccer teams that I coach. My sons are on 2 different soccer teams, and I coach 2 different teams.
Wow.
And to my coworkers, I try to be courteous and supportive, and I just don't want to be remembered as like a shallow person, or a bad person, or anything like that. I want to be remembered as someone who made the world a better place, by being in it. That's not too much to ask, is it? Is that too much to ask? I don't think that.
I just get for you in. No, I'm just kidding.
I think maybe you're aiming a little too high, Zach. I don't know.
No, I think
not at all.
I think that's pretty much how people look at you now already, Zach.
Oh, well, thank you. But I think everybody wants that to some degree. Apologies if I've tainted the question for everybody else, but it's creative work is I've created a couple things in my life that I'm proud of. So I'm happy with them. A lot of people remember me from when I used to work on toy magazines in the toy industry, but I went to a toy show just yesterday, and I saw people who remembered me and recognized me, and one of them even said, "Oh, hey, you helped me get into the toy industry where I am now," and he started his own company. I used to make custom figures for me back in the day when we would make custom figures and show them in the magazine. And that was really nice to hear that, that I contributed, in a positive way to his life. But that's my answer.
Definitely good.
Now, JP, choose the next one. The next one to answer your question.
What?
No, there's not a lot to pick from right now.
Yeah. We'll go with you, Alan.
All right.
With me, okay. I think that something that I want left behind me is something related about something really good, because when I become popular as a musician back in 2004, and when the people recognize you in the street, it was fun, I work on TV. A few years later, I lost that. And that was really, I was depressed a lot at the time. So it's the reason why I started writing to escape that feeling. No, probably I won't left behind that moment. It's difficult because when you go up in something, really up, and then goes down, as a typical of the show business, you are afraid that it will be the same for other stuff that you do. No, I'm afraid that maybe if this book goes well, maybe then I will lose that. I will lose that again. So maybe my problem is trust that now there can be in my future an adverse fate because that happened, this up and down stuff with my music. But so I want left behind this way to think about my future, no? Because I'm ambitious, and because of that, I remember when I was so ambitious as a musician and I got success and lost that. My problem is to left behind this ghost in myself. Ras, is your
Good answer.
Nice. For me, I hope I helped people have fun, and that's kind of if I like, whether it's with music or with the YouTube channel, I'm most I feel most rewarded knowing that I helped people, like the videos helped people through a really dark time. Like, I've gotten messages about that. I've gotten messages where people were sick in the hospital or family members died, and I was able to put content out there. And I mostly keep things very light. I try to have fun and make dumb jokes that 40-year-olds probably shouldn't be making. But it's if I could help people escape for a little bit of time, and if I could be remembered for that, that would be awesome. But what would be even cooler is if I'm remembered for being the father of one of my kids. Like, if my kids do something so great that I'm just the dad in the story, that would be even cooler. I have no idea what my daughters may do, but if I'm just like the dad of one of those people, that would be even cooler.
Definitely.
great.
Grandpa's always a legend, in a way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now, how much time do you have? Do you still have for the show, guys? Just to understand. Put a number of minutes.
I popped in late, so it's all up to what everybody else has.
Yes, you can do an answer for that because you're right late.
I probably wouldn't be too much longer. I probably wouldn't be too much longer. So unfortunately, I had to get ready to go to dinner. But yeah, I mean,
10 minutes. 10 minutes can work for everybody. 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So now it's my turn to go back to another question in these last 10 minutes.
Sure.
Let's see what I can do for you guys. Let's see.
I should change my name thing that I have right here.
The real name of ShartimusPrime is I'm Here.
Yeah.
So let's see. What is there is a moment of your life when when you change your point of view of your life? We start with JP.
Gosh, there's been a few of those. I think having a child. Um, uh, um, yeah, when my little one was born, I think my perspective changed. I suddenly, there's aspects of my own father that we were cool, but I didn't fully understand. And when that happened, the first thing that kind of started to become apparent to me is I'm going to be gone one day. Mortality was immediately apparent. It's almost like birth, mortality, And so I began to think about, you kind of make plans, like what am I going to impart to this person? What am I gonna, very much the what am I leaving behind story. But everything, I started thinking about scope in terms of like everything I do and choices and stuff like that. And my work has always been a lifestyle, but I think it gives it a different context as opposed to, trying to deliver the coolest stuff or make your deadlines or all that kind of stuff. It turned into what am I? What am I crafting and leaving behind? And how not that you can control how you'll be seen, but it's certainly like how you move and how you operate. And so yeah, and it definitely made me feel more like, it's not a bad thing, but like I always felt like, when you're young, you're ascending forever. It's how it feels like, versus like, this is gonna end. And so that was the change. And I know it feels negative, but for me, it was motivating.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, it's like somebody set the clock on you. Like, oh shoot, this is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tony, it's your turn.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think just how I kind of agree just how fast time has gone. I never thought I would get to 21, and when I did, now I'm 47. So, I'm just like, everything flew. So for me, just a lot of different things that just make you keep everything in perspective. And there's a lot of ups and downs in the field of entertainment for one. There has never been like the consistency from year to year to year to year. It's always changing. There's always something new. I'm not always on comics. I'm not always in film or video games or animation. I'm always moving into different places. So to respect the change is one of the hardest things to do. And so I've had many of those eye-opening moments for things just like, okay, what's happening next? So there's definitely been some scares over the years, but it helps to definitely recognize and respect those that do happen, that do change what I do in my career, and and knowing how lucky I am to still be doing this stuff. It is a grind. It is 7 days a week. Very little time for vacation, very little time for time off. My wife is very patient, and I appreciate that. So I respect the fact that I can still do this and know that there are ups and downs. That roller coaster of a career is true. Consistency is always a plus, but not knowing if there is going to be consistency will wake you up in a heartbeat. So I'm definitely just very fortunate and lucky to continue to do this.
No.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, that's what you guys.
Oh, he always passing it right down. I can't pass it right back up. Okay.
That's a really tough question. I definitely, perspective definitely changed when I had a kid. I've got three now, so it changed 3 times.
Wow.
Buying the house that I live in, changed. If having a child didn't say, all right, you're a grown up now, then owning a home was like, all right, you need to be a grown up now because
Yeah.
you need to keep this roof over the head of your family, and you need to support this, what you've stepped into. And it really was the first step towards us being like, me being, a grown adult. Because my career up to that point had been, a lot of fun, like good times with young people, doing fun stuff. Working for a magazine, it was all 20 something, guys hanging out. It was like high school or college all over again. We would work in the day, but then we played video games at night. And then I had a job where I was reviewing movies, and I would like go and watch movies at night and make jokes about TV shows during the day. And so, having jobs didn't feel like a change, and it just felt like, sort of, a continuation of my youth. And meeting my wife, was, that was a big change. But it was, we kind of, we grew up together, over the course of the years that we knew each other. So that was pretty gradual, but it's weird. It's a very hard question to answer, because there are so many moments that you think change you, but it's weird. The house one sticks out in my mind, just like you've reached the level that you're supposed to as a grown up. You have a house, you have a family, you have a job and a career, and it was that last piece of the puzzle that caused me to realize that maybe I was a grown up finally. That's a weird answer, but Russ, what do you got?
I don't know if I feel like I'm a grown up yet. But it's the at some point. So I mean, we talked about me and music, and I teach drum lessons 2 days a week, and that's great, and I gig. But I went to college to work for the government. That was like my whole plan was, wait, I really want to be a musician. I got hooked up with the free college. My parents were supporting me to go to college, but they were not going to support me to go study music. It had to be something else. So I figured, hey, who doesn't care about their day job? Government employees. So I can sit around, not give a shit all day, and then go home and play music until I go to sleep. But little did I realize that I am not able to not give a shit all day. I can't do that. Like, it drove me crazy. And I like being productive. I like moving forward and producing content, and of any kind of manner. If it's something I'd rather work, I'd rather find something to do than watch the clock tick by. I'm one of those. I'd rather stay busy. And it drove me nuts, and it just ended up not working out for me. And I had gotten into YouTube after so many years of doing it full time, kind of seeing Diamond's like you pretty much kept like the same, like your staff has changed only slightly over a long period of time. So not so much with Diamond, but like some like Hasbro, some other companies, you start seeing people come in and out, and you start seeing that, holy crap, their job is just as my job, and there's like no real security out there. Like, and people that were working in the career that I'd gotten my degree for, that I knew they had gotten into something else and did something different. So I don't know if this answers the question correctly, but I just came to a realization that like you might as well just do, if you could just find something that that you could support yourself with or a family with, and you love doing it, then just hang on to it. But like, I think it got to a certain point where I stopped beating myself up for choosing to do this, if it makes any sense. I mean, YouTube career, man, like nobody does that. Like, it's kind of like, it's just like there's a time where nobody did that, especially talking about toys. So I'm one of the first ones to be up on the platform talking about figures, and just the idea of it was just ridiculous. There was a time where nobody made money off of YouTube. I remember getting that question all the time. Like, so you make money on YouTube? How does that work? Getting that question, like, for, now nobody asks that anymore. It's crazy. Everybody knows. Everybody's a YouTuber. Plumbers are YouTubers. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got a TikTok or something, right? Doctors are doing videos and pulling out ingrown hairs and stuff, right? Not that I would watch something like that. It's weird, but it just came up. You know what I mean? Good click on it. It's gross. Anyway, the thing is that there's no real, I feel like there's no real job security outside of what you make for yourself. So just go for it. Just do it. And at some point, like, I had come to that realization, and it was one of those things where I realized, hey, look, if I happen to die young, I got to do all the shit that I wanted to do. I got to spend my time here. It's all rental. We're all renting space here. None of us get to keep any of it. All this stuff is going to be gone. None of it I get to keep. None of it. This body, nothing is really mine. It's all a rental. So at the end of the day, I can say, hey, I had a good time on my vacation, and I don't have to feel any kind of serious heartbreaking regret. Of course I've made mistakes, I regret those, but the big regret, you know what I mean, like, I cherish the time I've had here. So that was an awakening moment.
Okay, it's my time to answer my question, and then we have the final song. So to me, I changed my point of views of my life so many times, and there are many things that influence that point of view. The people that you met, especially my heart, what I do. When I was a musician, I was different. When I became a writer, it was different. Also, now when I do my interview, I did many interviews now for my book, and I told this story. I'm like a guy with two worlds in myself. My world in the Italian show business, now as a writer, and the world of toys with my friends in US, two different worlds. And these things is important to me because give me a balance. Because if I am only a YouTuber, I become too obsessed with that to be good in that. If I only still like in the past, only the show business and writing and music and TV become my obsession. So the only way to have a balance, have 2 foot in 2 different yard, it's the only way. Because when I go, for example, last Sunday I did a show for my book, but also I did a show in a ring with the 2 official WWE broadcaster of wrestling. So they were so apprehensive for the show. They ran around the ring. And to me, it was really quiet. And my girlfriend, she's surprised because every time you need to go to stage, you're so relaxed because I don't care. It's weird, but I don't care because I have also my other life in the toys. And when I work on my channel, I don't care because I have the writing stuff. And this is my balance. And this is my new point of view recently, because recently I work hard with promoting my book. So remember, guys, when it comes out in English, you will buy it. It's an interesting story because it's written in the second singular person. So when you read the book, you become the main protagonist of the story. And then you will be in 5 different characters. A dancing girl, a dancer, a girl that dances in the dance floor, old painter, a women old painter, a detective, a guard that was the name of the guy that live in the light for the ships that arrives in the bay. What is the name? I don't remember.
What?
A lighthouse.
I saw everybody frozen.
No, but
No,
Who is frozen?
you're frozen.
I'm frozen now.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
You're back.
I see. I
Maybe
see you're back.
because it's time to stop my Italian talking with weird English. However, it's a good book. So
I'm curious to know what that job is, though. That sounded like something I never heard of. I was like, wait,
Yeah. I was like, what?
what?
Is it a harbor master?
the job is the guy. You remember the tower with the light on the top? No.
Yeah,
It's a
Oh,
lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that one. So that one is one of the other guys that you go inside because it's in the second person, but you go inside in the life of this 5 person. And the other, there is also a little kid, a kid that was born just after a few weeks. So you go inside these 5 different persons, and each of them, and when you read the part of the story, for example, the story of the detective, the story is still in the second person. You read in the second person, so you still inside you still you. So the English title will be you because you will be the protagonist, but you will go inside this 5 person, and on each of these 5 person has a mystery to solve. And only when you understand what is the mystery of each these 5 person, you will discover why you are inside the book as a protagonist. Because there is also back and forth between the moment that you are inside this 5 life and you as a reader inside the story without identity, because you lose also your identity, your gender, everything. And the mystery is you need to go through the whole trilogy to understand why you are not just a reader. You become the main protagonist of the story, but also each of these other 5 characters has something to solve in their way. So it's interesting stuff, I think, because it's
Yeah.
mine.
I want to be a lighthouse keeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now instead to go to the piano, was a big pleasure to do that with you guys. Now
you
the
as well.
channel actually is over 9 millions. Is about
Oh,
that.
man.
So probably we will soon when we reach 10 millions. Let's see, because it's a typical show that they do. Now we do only this show, a few other shows because I'm super busy to promote the book. But now it's time for the song, guys. Thank you to all of you guys. It was a big pleasure share this moment with you. Talk with about life and art, music, movie, comic books and writing. So thank you, JP. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Zach and Shartimus. And now don't go anywhere, because before to say goodbye, there is a last fun video to all of you, my friends. Thanks for watching, my friends. And please smash the button, my friends. Please smash and subscribe. Help this channel to go to 100k subscribers, my friends. This is my dream. Please give me your love, guys. But also, guys, like, leave a comment, and share this video with your friends, guys. But also, my friends, consider become a patron to choose the next content of the channel. And also, my friends, become a member to be my guest in my show. That's right. And now you can see this video, or maybe this other video, or maybe another interview, reviews, unboxing, stop motion, tutorial, and more for you guys. So thanks for watching. Thank you so much. And subscribe, my friends. And so long, everybody. So long, my friends.
Yeah.
Almost done. 3, 2, 1. Looks like